I turned 23 today. An important year. Hope it kills me. But cigarettes work slow. 23 is important, didn't you know that? At 16, it was the only real year, it seemed. Do you really not know 23? Add them together, you get 5, divide for 666. Are you honestly telling me you were never a stoner in a Central Coast suburb in 2004, 16 and obsessed with rap and punk, that you never spent hundreds of hours reading about false flags, conspiracies linking 9/11 with the Reichstag fires, or the Illuminati, or spent lunch money on pentacle necklaces, that the law of fives is meaningless to you? Well, that 16 seems like yesterday for a different person who I knew but could never really stand. But that birthday card she gave me that said, "Happy 19th birthday and 20th year of life," that was definitely me. But, well, I remember fucking in a field on a blanket and losing my wallet, or in my car in a church parking lot, and learning that giving head was my favorite thing in the world. Or when we fucked for 4 hours on New Year's Eve 2007, and my little brother's friend walked in, and we didn't notice. And I remember her plans for a dream home, and her funeral party, the same as I remember how I stared through smoke at a total lunar eclipse after she'd broken up with me for the last time, online. I remember with fuzzy white lines etched gently on my eyelids. She became my blueprint, and I've built accordingly. Though I have to admit, I'm not very good at building. It's mostly been an overlay so far, of hours of manic laughter on IRC screens, and a thickening cloud of nicotine, and a rare taste of pussy. Individuals may have been what we were, but these days, it's communities that I love. One, digital, a tiny hub of artists, varying degrees of suicidal, alienated, discouraged, and inconsequential. The other is a group of girls whose friendship means the fucking world to me. I love them all. But I've never really been part of a community. Always lingering on the edges, just enough marked or just enough neurotic to be trapped in the outside of those within. I've never participated in mob mentality or real democracy. I always hold back a bit, at least that's how I see it. It's impossible to produce, maybe that's just what I tell myself, or contribute productively. Plus 0, add nothing, but make a lot of noise. Occupy everything. These last few years, my unspoken mantra. To accelerate the collapse of my own body and the abstractions which condition it. I've never shoplifted anything, because it seems so hard to understand that I could own something. I remember being told, at least implicitly, when I lost my first iPod, which I used to watch Grendel, Grendel, Grendel on, which one day I spent 20 hours listening to Dysentery Gary on to get over the only crush I ever had, that I should be upset, that it was probably stolen. I couldn't care. And when my little brother totaled my car, people seemed to think that I was just being good-humored. I just didn't know it was mine. I remember giving head once, and being called by my friend's name, and being told that she wasn't fantasizing, that she thought that's who she was fucking. And I remember it because I thought, just then, that I ought to be upset. And I wondered why I wasn't. But I wasn't. And she hadn't come yet. So I finished. And we went back to sleep. And I was glad not to be sleeping alone. Ever since, I've slept on my side, spooning, whether or not I'm alone. It's a particularly painful way to spend nights. 23 will be the 5th year of my blueprint. But you don't know what they say about the law of fives, do you? It goes like this. It's a fucking lens! 5 lies at the center of the mystical hub, not because it has any special properties of its own, but because the world does not want to be seen of its relationships. Anytime you feel the need to do some arcane pattern finding, it's entirely too much and it fucking hurts to stare straight in the face of atrocities. So you play. You convert everything according to numerological norms. At first, the 5s will be scarce. But if you break it down just right, you'll always end up with a 5. And from 5, you can touch anything!